I hate cheaters so much. I always have. Ever since I was cheated on by my high school girlfriend, I've had such a resentment towards people who cheat. I was cheated on by my second girlfriend in college days too. That didn't help either, especially when people tried to say that the high school girl cheated because we were young and stupid. We act as if older teenagers and young adults don't know the difference between right and wrong sometimes, and it pisses me off. When I started dating my wife, I was hypervigilant. I made sure that she wasn't friends with anyone who seemed to live a wayward lifestyle. I also chose someone who wasn't big on going to the club or drinking alcohol as a way of having fun. I thought that was enough for me to not have to worry about her cheating on me, and for the longest time it was. She genuinely seemed like a good woman to me. I, 36 male, have been married to Danielle, 34 female, for 9 years. We've come a very long way together, and I really thought that after being married to her for nearly a decade and being in a relationship with her for even longer, I knew the kind of person she was. I guess that I've realized that you can never really know anyone 100%, even if you think that person is the love of your life. Danielle has been cheating on me, and it has completely shattered me. I don't know whether she has had just the one affair partner over the years, or whether there have been multiple, but I assume it is the latter because I don't want to believe she just woke up one day, 9 years in, and decided that was when she wanted to start cheating on me. It must have been happening before, maybe with someone else. I found out that she was cheating because she told a very silly lie. She told me that she was going to visit her aunt and her uncle in another state. I wanted to come along, but it was happening during a week that I was extremely busy, so that wasn't something that I was able to do. Looking back, she might have done that intentionally, but there's no way for me to be sure of that. I thought that everything was fine until I called her in the middle of the day, which isn't something that I usually do. She initially didn't pick up, but when I called her a second time, she did. Where she was very noisy, and when I asked what she was up to, she told me that she had gone to Six Flags with her aunt and uncle. Now, for many people that might not have been a red flag, but for me, it was a really big one. Her aunt and uncle are in their late 60s. They are still relatively active people, but it made absolutely no sense to me that Six Flags was the kind of place that they would all go together. I asked her if I could say hi to them, but she stuttered and said that they had gone to buy some snacks, but she'd let them know that I wanted to say hi to them. I told her that was fine. Once the call was over, I just didn't feel right. She sent me pictures that she had taken at the park almost immediately after the call, but her aunt and uncle were nowhere to be seen, and that just added to my worry. Maybe it was purely a gut feeling, but I started to feel like she was hiding something from me. And as someone who has been scarred by cheating partners, that was immediately where my mind went. I knew that when she came back, I was going to have to find out the truth. I wasn't looking forward to it, because the other times in my life when I had been pushed to do that, I had always found exactly what I was looking for. I had a strong feeling that was what was going to happen in this case, and I wasn't looking forward to it. When she came back from her trip, she brought me a few souvenirs. She even said that her aunt and uncle wished that I had been able to come along. I told her that I was going to give them a call right then, and she told them that they were probably asleep, or she didn't fight. When I called, her aunt picked up the phone, and I was able to have a long talk with her. When I referenced Danielle having been there were no red flags. They corroborated what she said by saying that they wished I had come along to visit them. I noticed that Danielle was trying to act like she wasn't listening intently while I was on the call, but I know she was, because the moment I hung up, she seemed relieved. Again, I thought it was a lot of paranoia from my past experiences, but I assumed that it was possible that she had visited them to make her cover story valid, but she had done other things. I should have mentioned Six Flags during the phone call, since that would have confirmed or denied my biggest suspicion, but it didn't occur to me. That was my fault. I told myself that I was either going to call her aunt and uncle again at some later date and ask about Six Flags, or I was going to have to go diving through her phone. Asking her relatives would be so much easier for me, but I'll get a lot more information if I find something on her phone, so that was the move I chose to make first. If I checked and found nothing, I could ask her relatives about Six Flags. If they said that they never went with her, I'd have confirmation that she was hiding something, even if I wasn't able to find it on the phone. Despite being so paranoid when it comes to cheating, I almost never check Danielle's phone. I can only think of 2 other times in 9 years of marriage when I chose to do a deep dive through her messages. They were instances like this, when I thought that she might be hiding something, and both times I found nothing. I felt really bad after it, and I knew that I was going to feel bad after this too, if I didn't confirm what I thought was going on. This time was very different though. I went through her messages on several social media apps and I thought that I was going to find nothing. But when I went to her messages on Instagram, which is an app that I don't use at all, I found her messages with a guy called Maxwell. Most of the conversation was them sending videos to each other, but in between them, I could see flirty messages, including, "I miss you," and "I can't wait to see you again." Some of the reels that were being sent were the dirty kind too, like explicitly sexual. The further up that I went, the more that I saw that just solidified the fact that it wasn't just social media flirting. At some point, they had slept together, and that was clear. In fact, I was sure it was a proper affair. What made it even worse was when I decided to check out the guy's profile, and I saw that he was married with 2 children. If she was sleeping with a married man, I was sure that he knew that she was married too. They were 2 people betraying the people who they were supposed to love the most, and I think that part was what sent me over the edge. I went through her messages and documented as many of the relevant messages as I could. I actually had to open an Instagram account so I could stalk his profile from my own phone. I wanted to find out who his wife was so that I could let her know her husband was cheating on her. She deserved to know. I have already drafted the message I'm going to send when I'm able to find out her name. I should be able to get a social media account or an email address easily after that. If I can't, I'll just see if a PI can do the heavy lifting for me. I'm also going to meet up with a divorce lawyer. I want to be able to have the papers ready so that the moment I decide to confront Danielle, she can be served the very same day, or the next day at the latest. I hate cheaters so much, and I'm not going to have any pity on her or on her affair partner. Once I figure out who her affair partner's wife is, I'll send her a message, and I'll come back to give an update on all of that. Update 1. I found out that my wife Danielle was cheating on me, and I made a post about it some time ago. I'm back with an update on that now. The first thing I have to mention is that it took me some time, but I was eventually able to locate the wife of Maxwell, my wife's affair partner. I'm not that great at playing Facebook on social media, but this time around, I was able to pull out all my skills and find her. The best part was that I saved the money that I was close to paying for PI. For the sake of this post, I'll say that her name is Hannah. As far as I could tell, from what she put online, she seemed to be a good person, and I knew that she didn't deserve to have a cheating husband. I followed her on Instagram and then sent her a message. The thing is, the account that I was using was pretty much blank, so I realized that there was a chance she wouldn't reply. But thankfully she did. My initial message was just saying hi and letting her know that I had something that I wanted to tell her. I let her know that it was best if I told her in person, since it had to do with her husband, but I could also tell her over a message if she didn't mind. She said I should send the message, and I respected her choice and did that. She didn't reply for almost 3 hours, but when she did, she told me that she'd like it if I could meet up with her, and I agreed to do that the next day, during my lunch break at work. When I met up with her, I was able to confirm that she was indeed a really sweet woman, and it made me feel even worse that she was being cheated on. I was able to explain the entire situation to her there. I told her who I was, who my wife was, and how I had found out that her husband was sleeping with my wife. I let her know that I didn't hesitate to let her know because she deserved to know the truth if she planned to spend the rest of her life with that man. I think the fact that I was an actual person telling her all of this, instead of a faceless account, made it hit even harder. She started crying, and I really didn't know what I was meant to do to make her feel better in that situation. I tried my best to tell her it was okay, but after about 2 minutes, she wiped her eyes and looked back up at me. She let me know that it was the second time that Maxwell had cheated on her. She said that the first time she had left him, but he begged her, and she gave in. That was very soon after she had had her first child. Ever since then, she felt that he had been behaving himself, but finding out that he was still cheating broke her. She said that she was going to hurt him, and I couldn't tell if she meant literally or figuratively. I told her that it wasn't worth doing anything crazy over. She assured me that she wouldn't. She confirmed my name and my wife's name, stood up, shook my hand, thanked me, and then left. It's crazy how the kind woman I thought I saw disappeared after she was broken by the news. Cheaters are the worst. I have gotten a divorce lawyer and paid a retainer. I plan to confront her in a few days as soon as the papers are ready. I want to confront her aggressively, with all the work on my side ready to go. That'll be another update, and hopefully soon. Wow, she didn't just cheat, she really picked a married man with kids. Like, congratulations, Danielle. You didn't just wreck one home, you applied for a 2-for-1 special. When you drop those divorce papers, don't even argue. Just slide them across the table and say, "Here's your souvenir from Six Flags." She's going to realize real quick that she traded a loyal man for a loser who couldn't even keep his own marriage together. Let her have her thrill ride. Update 2. I'm back with yet another update. I guess my wife's cheating is the gift that keeps on giving, at least for those who like to read stories about cheating. Not for me, though. I've confronted her, and that was an absolute mess. Not necessarily in a bad way, though. I chose to do it on a completely random day. I had done a good job of interacting with her normally, and all of a sudden I said, "Maxwell," and then nothing else. Her head snapped towards me, and she asked me what I said, but I claimed that I didn't say anything. She said I definitely said something, but half laughing. I told her that I was sure I hadn't. She let it go. 2 hours later, she came back, asking me what I said earlier. I said I didn't say anything, and I asked her what she heard. She said that it sounded like I said a name. I asked which name, but she claimed that it didn't matter. I told her that if she told me, it was possible that I might remember if I truly said something, especially if the name meant something to me. She let it go. Then, about an hour later, likely because it was killing her inside that I might have known about her affair, she came back and told me that she had heard me say Maxwell. She asked me whether I had said that. My response was, "Oh, Maxwell, the guy that you're sleeping with." Her eyes widened, and she sat back from me as if she was scared that I was going to hit her. I wasn't going to do that. I told her that I had known for a long time. I told her that our 9 years of marriage seemed to mean very little to her. She started crying almost immediately, and that annoyed me. I asked her why she was crying, and I told her that she looked pathetic. I pointed out that she had cheated with full awareness, and now she was acting as if I was the bad guy who was making her cry. I told her that there was no future for the two of us, and that made her cry even more. I told her that I hoped that the affair was worth it. I told her that I hoped her life got so much worse after we got divorced. She started to cry even more at that point, and that was when she tried to defend herself. She claimed that she hadn't been trying to hurt me. Apparently the affair had just happened, and she didn't know how to end it. She said that she still loved me and that she never loved him. Apparently, it was purely physical. It was just a way for her to get something different. I was still the one for her. It was funny. I walked out on her and went to the bedroom. I didn't have to hear anything else that she had to say. She came to the bedroom and started knocking, and the longer I went without saying anything to her knocking, the more frenzied she became. She got really angry until I suddenly opened the door, and then she was scared. I told her that she had to behave herself. It was her fault for cheating, not mine, and acting like that was embarrassing to see. She finally calmed down, thankfully. Without me even having to say anything, she left the house the following evening, after I made sure that she was served before she left the house for work. I was glad that I didn't need to force her to leave. She hates awkward situations, and that did the work for me. I spoke to Hannah again, and she let me know that she was also going to be divorcing her husband. She had already paid a lawyer, and I was happy for her. It's hard to have to leave a spouse behind, but in the end, when they were cheating on you, you'll be better off by far. Update 3. Things have taken a turn that I certainly did not see coming. I have been in the divorce process with Danielle, and we ended up going to court to split things. She got the house, which pisses me off because that was the one thing that I didn't want her to end up with. The good thing is that I'll get half of its current market value, and she'll have to deal with the mortgage on her own. I think the judge gave her that benefit because I'm not paying alimony. We earned roughly the same amount. I don't see why she needs to be the one to end up on top, though, because I consider getting the house to be a win. I thought that things were going to be relatively simple after that point, but I couldn't be more wrong. The moment that I told Hannah, Danielle's affair partner's wife, that I was essentially through with my divorce, it seemed as if she went straight into action. I was able to figure out that she had been waiting for me to finish because she didn't want to complicate things for me. I appreciate that, but she was definitely very reckless with her eventual plan. The first thing that clued me in on the fact that Hannah was getting revenge on Danielle was when Danielle called me to yell at me for vandalizing her car. I told her that I knew nothing about that. She said that I had slashed her tires and scratched her car, and I told her that I had been at work the entire day, which was true. She said that there was no one else who would have done that to her car but me. I told her that she could check whatever video evidence that her workplace might have access to, and that she could come and ask my coworkers, but I hadn't left my workplace. I was as confused as she was, but that was when I realized that it must have been Hannah. When I messaged her to ask if she had gotten up to any mischief that day, she simply replied with a blushing emoji. To be honest, I didn't hate it. I liked that someone was ruining Danielle's day. However, I had to tell Hannah to take it easy. She was committing actual crimes, and she had children to think about. I think that she snapped in some way, though. I'm surprised she kept her anger at Danielle in for that long. She didn't seem to care. Danielle still thought it was me involved because I got a visit from the police since I was deemed to be the most likely culprit. However, my story checked out and was easy to verify, so they didn't pursue anything with me. It was very clear who was behind everything when Danielle, walking out of work one day, got approached by Hannah. who walked up to her and sucker punched her. Danielle fell to the ground, and Hannah continued to attack her. She stopped after about 4 or 5 more hits, then ran away. How do I know this? Because Hannah recorded it and then posted it with an explanation of who Danielle was and what she had done. I think that physical assault might be too far when it comes to getting revenge on a cheating affair partner, but to be honest, since I had no control over it and Danielle was still alive, I found some satisfaction in it. I didn't do the wrong thing by telling Hannah about the affair, and what Hannah chose to do after that was of her own free will. Danielle called me 2 days later to let me know what had happened to her. I don't know why she chose me as the person to vent to, but she did. She was crying and said that she was so scared and traumatized. She wouldn't be able to walk on the street without looking over her shoulder. She also said she realized that it must have been Hannah who vandalized her car. I played dumb and asked if she knew who she was. She paused and then tried to dodge the question, likely because she didn't want to have to acknowledge the affair, even though we both knew about it. She said that the video that was posted was embarrassing too, and she didn't even know how she was going to recover from that. She had called the police on Hannah though, and she had been arrested, and was later out on bond, which I found out when she texted me. I did my best to tell Hannah to chill out, but apparently the sweet woman I thought I saw was a complete lie. She was pretty scary under all of it. But hey, I can't say that I'm not happy that someone showed my ex-wife the consequences of her actions. I didn't even need to lift a finger. I'm sure that Maxwell must have dealt with a lot of that too. Hannah has probably really screwed up her chances of getting her kids, but hey, that was her decision, and I tried to warn her. For now, my divorce is pretty much done with, and I can move on with my life, so I'll do exactly that. I hope that my ex has learned her lesson from this. As for me, I'll figure out what to do with her myself, because being single at my age, it feels like I'm going to have to figure things out from scratch. Now she's calling you to cry about being traumatized? Girl, you weren't traumatized when you were sending spicy DMs to someone else's husband. You didn't care about consequences when you were playing house with Maxwell. But now that karma came wearing lip gloss and throwing punches, suddenly you're the victim? Spare us the performance. You tried to ruin a good man, Danielle, and you ended up with slashed tires, a mugshot cameo, and your name trending for all the wrong reasons. So yeah, let her keep the house. What do you make of this? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.